And let me get that link.
Well, here we are, a little bit late again, but better late than never.
Absolutely.
We thank you all for stopping by and hanging out with us for another conversation. This is Grand Unified Podcast. I'm Marissa Polaris, and I'm joined by the awesome, amazing, and death-defying Tombstone the Dead Man.
I feel like I should be doing some backflips or something with an intro like that.
I feel like you should too. Shoot. That would be kind of awesome if you did a backflip right now. I really should have gotten my stuff together and set up some special effects here so that we could make it look like
I was doing some backflips, some judo chops into the camera.
That would be dope. That would be dope. But anyway, first of all, I feel like I always open up by saying I'm so excited tonight.
Well, that's because everything that we're doing these next couple of months is something legitimately to be excited about. So, yeah, you have a right to be excited.
That's true. And I was thinking about it earlier because I want you guys to know that I really do geek before the show. Like it's something that's on my mind and that I'm looking forward to all day. Not just because I enjoy running my mouth about stuff, but because science is exciting. Like there is some really cool stuff happening every day somewhere in the world, from an amateur scientist to like the most experienced scientist that is living and working at the moment. Somebody is always up to something dope.
That's so true.
And tonight we're going to talk about, well, I've got a fun story to share with everybody because, as you may have noticed, I currently am on a theme involving chickens. So I'm going to cluck about that a little bit. And then we might be making a leap into type 2 civilization sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. That isn't just a game changer, it's a world changer.
Right.
And then on that level too, we're also going to talk about 4D printing. And this has been a little bit controversial because when the news was released, there was some question as to whether or not it was legitimately 4D in terms of the fourth dimension and using time and space. But I want to get into it and talk about it a little bit more, and then also talk about like what it means to the way we live, like how it's going to affect our not only our progress but our standard of current life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let Gads, why don't you tell us about the fourth story we're going to talk about tonight?
Okay, the fourth story is, the Mayo Clinic, they did a study or something, and apparently it's a sad day for you anti-vaxxers out there, because apparently this lady went into remission after they injected her with the measles. Now mind you, this was like a hell of a booster shot. It was many more times what the average person would get when they get vaccinated or whatever. But it caused the cancer to go into remission, and to me that's a good thing. But I didn't realize until I was talking to Marissa about this earlier that this is not something new that they've tried. They've done this before. They've been re-engineering viruses to fight cancer since like the 1950s, and they've done like with thousands of cancer patients. But this is the first time I had heard of it, so it was something that was really a big deal to me because the first thing I thought about was the applications for every other type of cancer. This is a big deal,
It's huge, and it's not only huge. It seems to be, from everything that I'm reading, it seems to be one of the least. I'm going to say this word and it doesn't feel right, but it's the only word I can think of. It seems to be the least, I guess instead of invasive, I will say intrusive treatment. Chemotherapy is a bitch. Oftentimes people end up suffering more from the chemotherapy. Their organs suffer from it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's the only thing that we've really found to be as effective to date with killing certain types of cancers. It's almost like one of those things like just kill everything, like.
Yeah. It's like scorched earth. It's scorched earth. You know what? We're not just going to kill the cancer. We're going to kill all of your organs and take your hair away too while we're at it.
Yeah, it's anyway, it's we'll get into that later. I mean, I have like this desire to talk about it right now because it's. I mean, I just want to talk about everything right now because it's so exciting. But I'm gonna organize my thoughts and make it a little bit more presentable for everybody. Let's talk about this chicken business, okay?
What do you mean, Popeyes? That chicken business?
Don't play because I don't eat fast food all the time, but when I do eat fast food, it's some dirty mashed potatoes from Popeyes. And it is some seriously spicy chicken.
Yes, it is.
I can't even talk about KFC, especially when you walk into KFC. This is why I stopped at KFC, beyond other obvious reasons.
Right.
You walk in there, I'm looking at the menu. What do I want? What does a sister want off this menu? I'm hungry. I got about $5-10 to put on this lunch. And
Right.
I'm looking at the menu. I order what I order. I go to pay the cashier, and I see a sign sitting right next to the register that basically says it's an announcement that they use chemicals in their, and actually they use the chemicals in when they deep fry their potatoes or potato wedges or whatever it is that they sell that are known to cause cancer. And I was like, did I just fucking buy cancer? Did I just do that? Did I just order cancer for lunch? Really?
No, you didn't. You ordered cancer on a bone. That's what you ordered. Cancer on a bone.
Right?
It's funny how I did too.
To be clear, I want to make sure I'm clear, KFC. It wasn't, there's nothing in there that we know of in their chicken that causes cancer. It's a certain ingredient that's used in the oil that they deep fry their potatoes in. So it's not an actual food product that they serve, but it is something that they use to prepare in their kitchens to the extent, and we all know how much big corporations have weight and pull against any sort of labeling that might make them look bad.
Right.
So in my opinion, usually when I see an FDA mandatory sign, I know that that's something I might want to look into.
Yeah, just a bit.
So speaking of chickens and ethical treatment, the story goes that this dude created basically he took the Oculus Rift headset and used it to fashion a chicken with, so that the chicken can have a virtual reality for a free-range experience. So, okay, immediately when I read this headline, I was like, this has got to be bullshit, right? So I go to the website, I read the story, I'm like, what kind of tree-hugging hippie nonsense is this? I don't understand this. Like, seriously, virtual reality for chicken?
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole new definition to robot chicken. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm reading the article. I go to the website to check it out because what we do in GU is we fact check stuff. If it doesn't sound right, find out. And even if it does sort of sound right, find out.
Exactly.
So the website, there's this whole website, and I'm looking at this, and they've got the graphics and the imagery of the chicken with the headset on, and I'm like thinking to myself, why don't they just put the chicken on a free range and experience it for real, right?
Right,
so,
right.
It turns out that really what this guy is doing is it was a really savvy ploy to get us talking about the human condition and ethical treatment and how we are using technology to either advance or possibly hinder the human experience.
Right.
I thought it was pretty clever. What did you think about it, Toon?
I thought it was hilarious because the only thing I kept envisioning is a barnyard full of chickens with the big goggles on and stuff on the ears. And I'm thinking, well, damn, I mean, how are they doing that? Like, I know a chicken's eyes doesn't quite see the same thing we do, so how do we know that's even going to work? So I went into this whole thing about the logistics of it. But then after I started reading the article more and realized that what they were going for, I mean, it definitely got me thinking about it and talking about it. The impact of technology, because look, I'm one of those guys. I'm a tech dude. I'm a huge tech dude. I want everything every new advancement I can get my hands on. I want it.
Yeah.
For instance, the Oculus Rift to me has all of us in GU that's interested in playing Star Citizen amped to the highest. So yeah, I'm a tech dude, but at the same time, I think it's a worthy conversation to have about whether or not some of the technology is kind of doing things to us as far as psychologically getting dependent upon certain things that we might want to just look at that again. We were just talking about that earlier, Marissa, about there was a really bad electrical storm in my part of the woods, and all the electricity had went out for like a week. And man, I'm telling you, the moment I realized I couldn't get online, couldn't use my phone, couldn't watch TV, like I panicked, like, oh man, what the hell am I doing here for all this time with nothing to do? But then, like you had said before, Marissa, it didn't take long. I started just grabbing my books and went outside on the patio and started reading them. So I feel bad for people that grew up with, because see, I'm from a generation where we didn't grow up with that. We didn't have the internet or none of that stuff. We didn't even have the cell phones, so we didn't even have that. So for me, I just went back to my old muscle memory of just grab a book. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a worthy conversation to have.
So I'm gonna post this dude's website in the comments, and you guys can take a look at it. I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually get too hyped about sensational headlines. Mostly because I've been in marketing, I've been in PR, I've been on all sides of it, and
right.
I understand, what the sell is. So I usually take all of that with a grain of salt. But it is interesting, that he's able to catch our attention. And first it's, like, oh my God, they're gonna put, Oculus Rift on a chicken's head. Like, why? Or we think, well, that's cool. Why not? But ultimately, it does force you to think about, like, I think the article and his website did exactly what he intended it to do.
Mm-hmm.
When the question came in my mind, well, like, why don't you just put them on a free range? Like,
yeah,
that doesn't even make any sense.
Right, right. That seems to be a lot cheaper than outfitting a whole barnyard of foghorn leghorns with Oculus Rift like that. I mean, come on now.
Well, look, I want to say what's up to our GU brother, Ogma.
What's good, Ogma?
Ogma is also going to be performing at the Celestial Wars concert and show in Maryland on July 26th. So big ups to my brother joining in the conversation tonight. I also wanted to point out Erroneous Hellhammer, which, by the way, I personally love that name.
That's an ill name. That's an ill name.
I know that Gray will be like, I'm so sorry I missed that name. But he says Google Glass for chickens. You know what? If that really happened, if they like really got Oculus Rift or Google Glass for chickens, I think I Oh, I can't even say that because I was going to say I would go vegetarian and protest, but that would defeat the point of my protest.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I would just be jealous. Let's be real. I would just be jealous.
Well, I'm jealous of anybody. Anytime somebody has Google Glass, because I really want to get my hands on that. It's just so many applications that I can use for what I do with that. You know, I want Google Glass, but I want everything though. I want Google Glass, I want Oculus Rift, I want 4D, I want 5D print. I want everything right now.
5D?
Yeah, I want everything right now.
Well, you know, this sort of a erroneous hellhammer makes a good point that sort of segues into our next topic. He says, you know, go ahead and buy a solar panel if you really need the electric hookup. And it's interesting because I was just talking about this the other day with a near and dear loved one about how self-sufficiency is starting to become illegal and outlawed in certain
Yeah.
states.
Yep.
And if anybody knows me and knows me just a little bit, they know that I can go off on a political rant, and they certainly know that I especially love to call out South Carolina and Florida and Texas for their malarkey.
Yes.
And so Florida, and maybe I shouldn't generalize Florida altogether, but I
Yeah,
really
because I do kind of like. Let me put a caveat here. I love certain parts about Florida a lot. I can't speak for the other things, but certain parts of Florida I love a lot. So yeah.
Good. And I'll be clear about it too. It's not that I dislike the geography of Florida. I do take issue with the giant bugs. I do take issue with that. But, you know, there are some really dope people in Florida. And please believe me when I say there are some really dope people in Florida.
And we're trying to come down there and perform, so please.
But it's really the politics that I'm calling out. And so anyway, so there are some city or county ordinances that have actually made it illegal for somebody to be off the grid. So even if they were fully functional with solar power in their home, whether it's through panels or perhaps even this next mechanism that we're going to talk about, they are breaking the law and could face charges, certainly fines. And it is the nuttiest thing to do. I'm going to try not to go off too politically on this, but it really speaks to, you know, our responsibility as a citizen to understand the type of arrangements that are being made with our municipalities and the companies, and really corporations, and really, if you really want to get real about it, the monopolies that are contracted, paid to provide us services, and generally speaking, when it comes to water, power, or gas, in a very monopolized manner. There is no competition for them
Right.
certain boundary. They are the provider that is contracted by our municipalities. So when you have a situation where a city or a county or a state at some point outlaws self-sufficiency specifically by way of cleaner energy with solar power that doesn't cost anybody anything. If I soak up the sun, I am not taking any more of your rays. Like, there is enough solar rays for everybody to go around. The sun was here before we were, and will certainly be here after.
Right.
How long after we're gone? So, you know, I think I find it suspect is the best way that I can say it. I find it suspect.
It is suspect. It is.
And we just need to be responsible for knowing about that. So with that rant out, I do want to talk about what could potentially be a level up. I mean, we talk about type 1 civilization. That really essentially means that we're using all of our available resources on our home planet. So we have maximized everything we can dig up, pump, or absorb as far as our energy consumption.
Right.
2 harnesses the energy of its star, which for us obviously is our sun. So I question if this is if it's really able to come to full fruition in its use, if this is a level up to a type 2 sort of civilization.
Yeah.
So there's this German architect, his name is Andre Brosel, a French guy, and if you go to the link that I'm going to send you in the comments, you'll be able to watch a video. I'm just going to say it just sounds cooler when he explains it in a French accent. I might be crushing a little bit in a nerdy way.
Just a bit. Your Nerd Crush Wednesday. Is that what that is?
So what he's done is he has developed a spherical sun tracking solar energy generating globe. It's essentially a giant glass marble on a robotic steel frame. And the really dope thing about this is that not only does it track the sun as we, sort of move in and out of its light, it also captures and concentrates the moonlight, which I don't know how solar panels are doing that. As far as I know, when the sun goes down, they're not really doing a whole bunch and waiting for the sun to come back up again. So for it to also capture the moonlight, to me, is impressive. But even more impressive than that is that it concentrates both the sunlight and the moonlight up to 10,000 times, making its harvesting capabilities 35% more efficient than conventional dual axis design. So it's 35% more than any solar panel we have on the ground right now.
It's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. You guys got to check this out. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post the link in the comments right now.
It's stuff like that. See, it's things like that that give me hope for what the future could be, and that we could possibly reach Type 1. But the thing that keeps my optimism in check is the idea that I know a lot of these corporations that do have a monopoly on the energy that they spoon feed us out, they have an issue with that. And the one thing I never understood is why wouldn't they just get on the bandwagon and be like spearheading the technology? If it's really all about them getting all the money that they could possibly get, then why wouldn't you want that money too?
Right?
I don't get that.
You would think, but I have to say that in my opinion, it just comes down to greed. Like, people don't want to move on anything that could be progress because they haven't figured out a way to maximize and monopolize the profits for it.
Right.
So, it almost comes down to, like, if I can't have it, you can't have it either.
And that's sad, man. That to me, it's the type of thing that puts a harness on human achievement. And anything that does that is something that we need to really look at and view it as the enemy. Like, to me, that's the new, back in the day when World War I, World War II, and even in Vietnam conflict or whatever, we place this title of villain or enemy on the country over here or the country over here. No, we need to be doing that now in 2014 towards anything that's like putting a harness on us and keeping us from moving forward. And anything that's, I'm just going to straight out say it, anything that appears to be harming, our environment or whatever like that, we need to really think about that, because, you may think that some of these things won't happen in your lifetime, but you really don't know that. You really don't know that.
That's so true. That's so true. I think, even with what we talk about tonight, we're talking about achievements and accomplishments that even 10 years ago we didn't think were possible within our lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's really exciting though. I guess I have to say I'm really excited about it because, and just to me, I look at it, and I'm sure he had a team of researchers helping him. I'm sure that this wasn't one man's journey.
He wasn't over there Nikola Teslaing it up.
Right. Mind you, would say one man's journey. My mental image is that of Kung Fu when he's walking down the road. I don't even know, y'all. Are you all up on Saturday Kung Fu? I'm not talking about Kung Fu flicks or Kung Fu class. I'm talking about
don't know.
Kung Fu, the show. Like that was my Saturday shit.
These whippersnappers, they don't remember that. They don't remember that.
Dude, you know that there really aren't Saturday morning cartoons anymore?
It breaks, Marissa, it breaks my heart because right around the end of August, early September, they would show the commercials for the next season's new cartoons. And this was a big deal for me as a kid. You know, yeah. I got to see, I'm looking for all the action adventure ones the new ones that's about to come on, like Thunder the Barbarian. I know you kids don't even remember that. But it's stuff that I used to look forward to at the end of summer, knowing that, okay, I got to go back to school, but there will be some new Saturday morning cartoons. And now that's gone. That is gone.
So gone. And you know, I realized it was gone when the Cartoon Network took it all, monopolized our Saturday morning. Yeah, there's no more of that.
Saturday's not that special anymore. Like, Saturday used to be special. It ain't. Nah, it's gone.
Saturday was cereal, and you know, when I was a kid, we kept the TV in the closet. That's how much we did not watch it. But Saturday mornings, I would pull out the TV out the closet, get my bowl of cereal, or, which kids really don't do these days, I remember being like 6 years old and pulling the chair to the stove to try to cook my mama some eggs. Bring her, and you know what it wasn't? It wasn't even eggs, it was crepes. My mom's, she's pretty wicked in the kitchen. Let me just say that. She's pretty ill in the kitchen. And so she makes all these gourmet, yummy, delicious things. And so here I am, like 6 or 7, like, I'm going to make my mama some crepes. And I don't even know what I did. I think I whipped up an egg and some water. Basically, got really thin eggs.
You thought you were doing something.
Yeah, you know, Saturday morning, you get up, you watch. And the best thing was, though, and here's what's missing today, is that those cartoons ended by 10 a.m.
Yep.
We're over at 10. So when the cartoons were over, you were outside.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you wake up and you just sit down and you may not get back up again.
Right. You know, it's so many good memories about that. Please indulge me for a second, because this is a big memory of mine. I used to get up early, get my allowance, and walk to the corner store to get a whole bunch of snacks before my favorite cartoons came on. So I used to carry around this big old dumb stick, because as a little boy, sticks were everything. If you found a good one, a stick, and you carried that. And I'll never forget walking up to the store, and there was this older guy, probably 4 or 5 years older than me, and he was somebody who used to bully my brother. Now, my brother was not the fighting type. He was born with some health issues. Like, when he was 5 years old, he had a heart attack. So my brother wasn't really the fighting type. And my brother was my older brother. So I had to pretty much pull up the weight for me, him, and my sister. So as I'm walking around to the store, the guy says, like, hey, little Lance. They used to call me Little Lance because my brother's name was Lance. He didn't know my name. So he's like, hey, little Lance, give me a quarter. And I was like, no. And he was like, man, you heard me. And he came over there to me and tried to grab my pockets. And I put a whooping on him with that stick that Ajax couldn't take off. I punished him out there until some adult came by and stopped it. Yeah. That's my Saturday morning memory. I will never forget that.
Hey, you know what? I want to take a second to say what up to our boy Troy. What up, Troy? But also, near and dear to my heart, Invincible is up in this piece.
Yeah, boy.
And he just made a really fantastic point. If something can take in the moonlight as well as the sun, all we need is something that runs even in overcast weather, and that's it. Compact it all. facets of life like cars can use it. We've solved all the fossil fuels. Guess what?
Yeah.
This sphere operates in overcast. I posted the link to the video. It's like a 3-minute video, and the guy sounds really cool. But it captures sunlight, moonlight, 10,000 times concentrated, 35% better than what we currently have, and it works despite any sort of inclement weather.
Dope.
Now, I can't begin to find the words to articulate exactly what it does the way that these guys do. They do a really superb job and a very simple and entertaining animation, I might add. Watch the video. Hit the link, watch the video, have your mind blown. And then ask why. Why isn't more of this in service? Why haven't we put this into effect? And then rock your vote. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to be more political other than to say rock your
Right. Get out there and do something. Let's stop this.
I know, right? Well, you know, the other thing that's really cool that's been sort of kind of in the news, is definitely on my radar, is this 4D printing.
Oh.
Now, Tim, when you read about this, what were your initial thoughts?
Truthfully, when I first read about it, I was thinking about all the different applications and things that we could possibly use this for. And honestly, I was thinking of different sci-fi programming that I have watched that had technology similar to this, and thinking to myself, damn, we're almost there? We're almost there?
Right? Tell me, was your first thought about that meal tray on Star Trek, you know, when you press the button and then
Yes.
and
Yes.
they would print you out your meal? Like,
Yeah, I need that.
That was like, I was like, oh damn, first they give me the flip phone, now I get this?
I'm just going to walk up and go, chocolate cake. Here it is.
You know, okay, don't play. Because if we can print chocolate cake, I bet you we can print chocolate cake that any diabetic can eat.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it solves a whole lot of problems. I would say that gluten is one of them, but I won't. Honestly, when it comes to the gluten thing, there are people that are gluten sensitive, like they have a legitimate allergic reaction to it, but that percentage is this big. I was looking at, I was perusing Facebook today, and I saw somebody with a post about eating healthy. And so, you know, I like to cook. I probably like to eat more than I like to cook, but I enjoy cooking.
Right.
And so when somebody posts something about food, I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking deep into this picture, and I see that he's pairing some sort of burger business, which is already awesome, burgers. And then I look a little bit more closely, and they're chicken patties, and I'm like, oh, okay. I prefer turkey patties.
Right, but try.
Then I look a little bit even more closer, and I see that the label says it's gluten-free chicken patties. What?
Wow.
There's no gluten in chicken patties.
They're getting over. They're getting over.
Right? And I'm not gonna lie. Early in the gluten craze, you know, some of my friends were like, gluten is bad, I can't do gluten. And so being the type of person that I am, if I see something that looks like it might be enjoyed by one of my friends, you know, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to give it to you because I like to see that smile. I like to see my friends enjoy it.
Right.
So I have this great Po Man mocha that I make because everybody can't be drinking Starbucks every day, and certainly not as often as I drink coffee throughout the day. And so what I do is I make my coffee, and I use, instead of creamer, I use chocolate milk. So I got really excited. I'm like, I'll share that with my girlfriends in the morning. and I got really excited because I bought some chocolate milk that was gluten-free.
Right.
And I'm like, look, girls, you can drink this. And I'm like, we could always drink that. There is no gluten in milk. And I was like, motherfucker, I just got. Like, they got me. They got me with that nonsense.
Okay, I think it's time for the new age to have a come to reason moment. Okay? They're using certain terminology that has become a talking point and a marketing tool to overcharge you for stuff that doesn't have the thing that they told you you should be afraid of in it. And it's time for us to have a come to reason moment and actually really look up this stuff to see if it has the thing they told you to be afraid of. Because a lot of it doesn't, and they're getting over. They are getting you. Your lack of incredulity, I'm telling you, it's going to cost you a lot of money over the next few years because they're going to continue to do it. So let's really look at some of this stuff from that one, okay?
It's bananas, which are also gluten free. So anyway, so let's get back to this 4D printer, okay?
Yeah.
Because there was some chatter, in the thread that where we posted this about how, it's not really 4D printing because 4D is the manipulation of space and time. And it's really more of like an advanced 3D printing. But sir, I beg to differ. It is 4D printing because what Skylar Tibbetts, who is a research scientist at MIT, what he wanted to do was print objects that were able to transform and change shape over time.
Right.
Transform, change shape over time. Sounds a little 4D to me.
Yeah.
And so he was talking about, some of the things he was trying to work out with a company he knew, Stratasys, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Stratasys, it's a 3D printing firm. And the company had recently developed a printing material that expands by like 150% when it was placed in water. And
Right.
Tibbetts was like, that's cool, but I'm not really looking for a sponge. Remember, okay, some of you guys might not remember, but I know Toom remembers this. Remember those little capsules?
Yes.
You used to take them at the bathtub time, and you was like, "Oh, get to crack this one open."
Yes.
Crack it open, and it would blow up into a sea monster or a dinosaur or whatever. Remember that shit?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Stratasys. We already have that.
We had that before. You gotta come better than that to impress us.
But thank you for sharing. So anyway, what he did was he sort of, it helped him decide how to work through the problem.
Right.
And guess how he solved the problem? Geometry. Okay? All that stuff that you may or may not have paid attention to in class came into play. Remember that? Remember we used to be like, I don't even know I'm sitting up in here with algebra. When am I ever going to use this in real life?
Well, there you go.
Am I going to be applicable right now, motherfucker?
Right now. 2014. You asked, and now it's here.
So anyway, so he used geometry, and what he did was he applied a code that sets the direction, the number of times, the angle at which the material can bend and curl. And really what makes it different from 3D is that this 4D printer applies measurements that dictate how it should change shape when it's confronted with outside forces such as water, movement, or a change in temperature. And what makes this really, really cool is when you start to think about the applications beyond my dream Star Trek food printing machine.
Right.
Is that what if we were to print a brick that was able to change its structure based on movement? So imagine how vital that brick would become in construction in places like Japan or Cali, where earthquakes are a very real threat.
Right.
Imagine what a game changer that is. You know, in 1984, I was alive and cognizant enough to witness almost firsthand the huge 8-point-something earthquake that struck Mexico City.
Wow.
And that put the fear of Odin in me. I was watching on the newscasts as they were searching for survivors in the rubble. Wow. And at like, I don't know, what was I, 7 or 8? Let's just say I was 6 because that gives me a better standing right now. The present.
Yeah, you don't want to date yourself too much, right?
1984, I was 6. Okay. But I was aware enough to really be hit with the weight of the fear, the panic, the hopelessness that somebody must feel when they're buried under rubble.
Yeah.
And there was a pun even in that serious statement of mine. I'll let you guys work it out later. But you know, to hear that one of the ways that they were looking for people was with sonar devices to try and pick up any sort of tapping noises. Yeah. And the tapping was anybody who might be tapping on a pipe or a piece of, you know, it's anything that might create an echo or a sound.
Right.
And so imagine what a 4D printer could do in terms of changing our standard of life by printing a brick that changes its structure based on movement. It could be life-saving.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's remarkable, and that this type of technology is actually moving in a direction where it will become something that we can use on a regular, everyday basis. Like, and for something, especially like the situation you just cited right there, that would be, imagine how many lives we could save. That when we have an earthquake, or hell, in the Midwest when they have those really bad windstorms and hurricanes and stuff, like, can you imagine?
Right?
You know?
What do you guys think? I'd love to hear from anybody who's joining in on our conversation. What could 4D printing do besides, you know, print a brick? Like, what other ways can you think of that it might change life as we know it today? I mean, and you are certainly welcome to upvote my Star Trek meal printer. That's totally fine.
I wonder how much weight I would gain with one of those Star Trek meal printers. Like, it was just right there available for me to just go, you know what? I'm feeling like a milkshake right now. Just go ahead and print out a milkshake. That would be kind of awesome.
That would be. And then, you know, you could get whatever flavor you wanted. Although I have a feeling that people would bug the fuck out with that the same way they do at Five Guys.
Yeah.
When you have more than 5 soda flavors, you will never fucking get a drink because some asshole is standing there with every goddamn flavor combination.
True.
Get your fucking Dr. Pepper or drink some water.
Drink some damn water. That's what you need.
Do you have to press every button? I don't know. Well, I don't even remember. I haven't been to Five Guys in a while. Not because it's not yummy, but just because I haven't. But I don't remember how many. Do you have a Five Guys out there too?
Yes, we was just there a couple of weeks ago.
I'm kind of jealous.
And it was delicious. Yeah.
It is delicious. Five Guys, I'm not going to lie. I try not to eat fast food too much. Number one, because my stomach reminds me I shouldn't. It reminds me of a very well felt manner that I should not be eating fast food like that. But also because, you know, it really is, you know, the more the food is processed, the less beneficial and nutritious it is, you know, for your body to absorb. So, as with anything in life, you've got to find a balance, right?
Yeah, moderation.
But if I'm going to, you know, balance out the other side of healthy eating, I'm gonna go to Five Guys or Popeyes. Where there's something else that I like, and I can't even remember what it is. But there's one other spot. I really can't do McDonald's. Me and McDonald's don't get along at all.
No, no. First of all, I don't like clowns. So the whole McDonald's thing is out.
That's right, the vampire clowns.
Yeah, I don't do clowns, man. No.
All right. So vampire clowns is a perfect opportunity to welcome our brother Ogma. What up, Ogma? GU?
Yo, I get introduced to vampire clowns. That I could deal with that. It's kind of like a hardcore kind of vibe.
Kind of hardcore, you know? Yeah. How you doing, man? Can you hear us?
Not too bad. I'm doing great. What's going on, y'all?
Oh man, we having a blast like we usually do.
I know. What do you think, Ogma, when we're talking about like that 4D printing? If you had a 4D printer, what would you print?
Well, to be honest with you,
yeah, you could be useful
I'm still
or
like I was reading up on how we had the ability to make scientists have discovered the ability to turn pure light into matter, and within the next year they're going to display it. But before that, I was still hung up on 3D printing. So 4D printing, I really can't even grasp the concept of at this point. I'll have to read up on it a little bit more.
I know, right? I mean, 3D printing in and of itself is dope. Like, I know most everybody who we kick it with in GU, probably everybody that's watching, you know, our GU fam, you guys have all seen that house that somebody built from 3D printed materials. Like, that's hella dope. That's hella dope. A little bit out of my mortgage range, but but still hella dope. You know, I kind of okay, so here's the thing. Not to keep it on the brick, but I'm debating whether or not I'm going to unleash this pun, by the way. I think it's going to happen.
Debating?
I think it's going to happen. If I were to take it to a brick house level, then I think what I would do is I've always liked those underground domes, right? Like, those always seem super cool to me. Like, it's just underground, out of sight. You don't even know I'm here, Mad Max style, right?
Right.
But because I watched that earthquake and survivors tapping on shit to get found, I'm like, I have had this fear of, like, I can't live underground like that. What if there's an earthquake? I'm going to get trapped.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, you don't run outside when you're underground. Like, that's underground. So, but now I would be able to print any sort of object, whether it's piping that can expand or shrink depending on water flow, or you know, the construction material, whether it's a brick or whatever it is, that, you know, that can change its structure to move and sway with the, you know, the shake or roll of the ground. Like, I think I would feel a little bit safer to literally live my dream.
Absolutely.
There was a tornado, like a gigantic tornado that touched down about 15 minutes away from me, so I could really use a printer that could print me up like a tornado shelter about that.
That would be cool.
That would be dope.
I didn't mean to giggle over you, but we just had somebody in the comments room post the obvious. They would print sex toys. You know, I'm grown here. I know Invincible. I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to make my comment, but I don't really want to censor myself either.
And it's that kind of mentality, which is why we will move further into expanding our horizons.
Yes,
so
I will leave that alone. So, anyway, what are your thoughts going through your mind right now about the show? I know you're in preparation. I know that you and Toom have some stuff in store for us. Oh, snap.
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
Oh man.
Dude, this guy with his
Oh
super
man.
hearing, it's almost celestial, Gray. It's almost, dare I say, rather lordish of you to just pop in like that.
I don't know if you guys can hear me on my other mic, just because I was setting stuff up. Could you guys hear me when I was talking?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
no, not the first time, but we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I was definitely laughing at you guys. How's it going?
Oh man, having a ball as always.
Yeah, you're right. It was kind of celestial.
You what?
We're just we're just talking about Agma, and I was just asking him like what thoughts are going through his mind as we start to get a little bit closer to the Celestial Wars concert and show, and I would tell the audience about. I wasn't going to tell them everything, but I did want to tease them a little bit because Agma and Toon will be on the stage together.
Yeah, I love. Let me tell you something. The first time I performed with Ogma was at the Seattle show, and it was me, him, and Adequate. And man, I'm telling you, I have never had a better. I never had a better like partner in performing. You know what I'm saying? I have there's certain experiences that I've had with performing because I've done it quite a bit, but the one experience in Austin with me and Graydon went up there and did what we did, and the one in Seattle with me, Ogma, and Adequate, I will never forget those at all. At all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, you guys were pretty
Performing
good.
with.
It was good chemistry.
Thank you, man. Like hearing you say that, just performing with Tombstone is just like it's indescribable. There's a level of energy that I'm gonna be bringing to the show. So I just want to say I'm excited to see all the fans that are gonna be coming out. But mostly I'm real excited to just be on the stage and bring as much energy as I possibly can. And I'm definitely gonna be revealing some new tracks that I've been whipping up. So
So
it's definitely gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be dope.
It's just dope all the way around, and I wish I could say so much more than I can right now. I'm just gonna tell you guys that there is a lot of premier music that's gonna be dropping at this event for the first time. I mean, like nobody else is hearing it anywhere else except on that stage. It'll be the first time this music gets beyond our GU gate. So it's dope. I'm excited. I haven't even heard all of it. I've heard a lot of it, and
you've heard more than plenty.
I get so amped. It's so pumped. It's stuff that like not only am I a hip hop head, and I mean in the most elitist sense of
Right.
hip hop. Like I'm fully aware that my opinion really isn't fair to to thrust upon others because it's that snobby. But I love music in general since day one, and some of this stuff, if I even think about the spectrum, the catalog of music that's available, some of this stuff I've never really heard anything quite like this before. And I don't mean like a new instrument or the way the beat is laid out. I'm talking about like overall it's in a brand new category. It is so thick.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this much just because I feel like I have to let a little bit of it out, and I will take the hand slap later from two things. I will take the punishment. But the best way that I can describe it is by repeating something I said earlier after listening to one of the tracks, that I don't know whether I'm blowing my speakers out with it or if I'm taking like this epic sci-fi journey. Like I don't know. Either way, it's good. Either way, I'm totally satisfied. But anyway, it's dope all the way around. That was my point.
You guys are going to be pretty happy with what we got coming. Like I said, it's something that I've been wanting to do for like years, and now being in a position where I can do it, it's amazing to me. My mind is blown. So I'm pretty certain you guys are going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the people who enjoy concept albums and concept ideas, um, it really, because I hear a lot of people just within um, my communications ask me a lot of times, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, a lot of that gets answered with this project. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know one thing is for sure, a lot gets answered.
Just come out to the show, y'all.
Anybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, better. I was trying to fix my microphone setup. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I don't know. You've been in the studio all day, dude, just recording, both you and Toon.
Man.
Yep.
Every day. I think we put in, me and Tombstone have put in maybe like 6-7 days straight, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily. Easily.
I feel like Agma's doing that, like, elevator skit, you know, when you go down the elevator. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but that was cute.
I just set my laptop on a table so that it wasn't shaking on my lap.
Well, you know what we're talking about the show. Let's go on and let's get into the show. We've got some exciting stuff to announce about the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
You know, firstly, let me just say, you know, thank you to everybody who has contributed with their support, who has contributed by buying a perk package, and who has just really kind of shared our grand unified message with anybody that they think might benefit from it or would be interested in not just our music, in not just our campaign, but in our efforts to really help inform and educate and raise science awareness, an awareness of not only what the scientific method is, but what the possibilities are with science.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody. You guys are so amazing, so amazing. So the first thing that I want to announce is dun 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 dun. Just a couple days ago, we hit our halfway point of our funding goal. Our total funding goal is $4,000, and just a couple days ago, we were pushed over the 2K mark. And that's because of you guys. You guys did that. So we're so stoked about that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's without, I'm gonna try to pull a word out of my vocabulary that's not offensive. It's very humbling to think that people are willing to fund our endeavors in the way that they are, and the fact that they can show that they care with their pocketbooks as opposed to just with their internet. And we appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to get offended or anything. But it obviously shows when people are willing to spend their hard-earned money and they're not even going to go to the show. So it's humbling for sure.
You know, I gotta tell you, and we'll talk about some of this a little bit later, or maybe I'll save it for later. But you're absolutely right. It is mind blowing, and it's amazing the kind of support, you know, that we're receiving, and you know, ultimately we're doing this, you know, for you. We're doing this because we love music, because we love science, because we feel like everybody should have an opportunity to get their science on, and because we love the vibe that we get off of you. You inspire us to keep doing this. This isn't our 9 to 5. This isn't how we keep the roof over our head. Grand Unified is something that we do solely with the energy of our passion. That's it. And our reward is you guys. So. So with that said, I do want to make another announcement that one of my favorite perks, one that I'm excited about them all, but this one's seriously dope because I can't think of any other crew that is doing or has done something like this. Like on show day, before a concert, they're going to go, the artists, the performers are going to go chill out at the museums with you, not just a museum, but the Smithsonian museums, have lunch, watch an IMAX flick. Like,
how dope is that? Right, how dope is that, man?
We do that.
Only we do that.
And we're doing it with a sold-out crowd. We sold that perk out. You guys bought it out with your support for the the show and the event. It's sold out. We don't have any more slots, but we do have some really dope announcements we'll be making in just a couple of days about new perks that we're throwing into the mix of things. But it was so exciting to wake up this morning, check on the campaign, and it's like sold out.
Yeah.
Practice. That was so dope. We now have just over 27 people, supporters and fans, music lovers and science heads, joining us for a day at the museums before the show.
Yeah.
How about that? That made my day.
Yeah, mine too. And let me gush about that a little bit more because, all right, this is our time. Like for the people in the Grand Unified community, we love tech, we love science, we love the music, and we're now living in a day and time where we can blend all of that together, and nobody does that like we do. Nobody. And we couldn't do it if it wasn't for you guys. Like your support and the fact that most of the fans that I'm in contact with on a daily basis are some of the most amazing people I have ever met. Period. And it's to me it's a thrill for me to even be in a position where there are people that are actually paying attention to what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like that's a thrill to me because if you'd have told me this years ago, I would not have believed you at all.
Can I say something? Look, I feel like this. Like there are, I think, first let me say this. We get a lot of the messages when people say or ask us, hey, how come you guys weren't at X convention? How come you guys weren't at other convention or whatever? And the truth is our fans have actually demanded that we be at these things. The powers that be have chosen to ignore us.
Mm-hmm.
To consciously, actively ignore Grand Unified and what we bring to the table. Okay, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And we'll do it with you. Yep. And that's why we were able to get 50% and still have, 20 days, 18 days?
Something like that, yep.
Yeah, we're going on 17 days after tonight.
Yeah. So it's like, we're killing it. We're going to keep killing it. We do it with you guys. But a part of our motivation is showing these people that there is a whole other intellectual community that exists outside the so-called skeptic community.
Right.
And you guys are a part of that. You guys are on the forefront of that. So please do not think that your voices aren't being heard and that your message isn't being received as well. We get that, and we're trying to respond accordingly. So thank you for that.
We'll do it ourselves, just like you said. That's what we're trying to do. And the success of this, showing us that this can happen, this can actually be done, will translate in us going other places all over the country, trying to do the same thing. And as long as we have your continued support, if you can't get to this one, chances are we'll be in your area at some point or another and come to that one. But we are a community within ourselves, the G universe. That's why we refer to it as that. Like all of you guys are a part of the G universe, and I'm proud to even be a part of it.
Hey, this may be a silly question. How long have you guys been streaming?
About an hour. Pushing an hour.
You got time for a music block?
Hell yeah, we do.
It's always time for music.
I'm a little late.
So but I would just want to say, when we come back from the music block, I have a couple more special announcements that I want to get to, and then we'll move on to our other topic that is hella dope.
Yes.
Okay, and how many songs do I got time for?
Give us 2 at least.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see here. Let's do this.
I know he's got some of his sleeves, so I'm like, what's it gonna be?
The super gross is back. Trauma, you a fool for this beat though. Yeah. Let's do it. Check. 1, 2. Yeah. I don't care, I put my life in a song. I tell you price is a pawn just to see which building the sniper is on. I'll probably be the next to get a mic on his arm, cause I love hip-hop and my rhyming is strong. Ain't nobody asking me what side of science I'm on, how the bright idea of one God divided them all. Technologically, we should be a lot further along, but we squandered it all with cold wars and bombs. The Dark Ages owes us 700 years of tech, and I don't know about you, but I'm here to collect. Just had a Catholic church write me a check, and now divided up amongst all the poor people on earth that's left. Should've had the star system colonized already, bases on the moon and Mars headed for Alpha Centauri. AIDS and cancer should have been the thing of the past, instead of dropping the bomb to spend money rebuilding Japan. Humanity has scars like an abused heart, circling up all the gas as a moving target. Peace is the hardest due to our current thought process. We embrace superstition and reject logic. I got a message for the next prophet. How about a fresh option, more understanding and less doctrine? Just one of many in the ocean of space, with existence the focal point of debate. You know that it's great. Last I checked, this was for the species, but when it comes to human rights, they treat it more like feces. What does it matter if gay people want to get married when you sit and overvalue the way you want to be buried? Like it's more important to say it's decreed by external forces, not knowing the earliest idea were female origins. You need to do some more reading on quantum physics and explore reason, because we need more heathens.
When I look up at the sky, I see the difference between you and I. I see the universe near perfect fact. You wanna make up a god and start worshiping that. I say there's so much in this universe. You say there must be more, don't even search it first. You'd rather be amazed by a virgin birth. There's no church on earth that's worth the dirt. It's built on the filth on the hands of those that believe it's disgusting, the cancer grows. See, I don't care about no angelical wings. I'd rather know, is there really one-dimensional strings? When they sing, do they make up the fabric of things? Is that too much to fathom for irrational beings? Like, if physics isn't your cup of tea, that's gravy, baby. There's so much to see. There's so much to learn. There's so much to love, instead of reading about such and such above. Yeah, whatever, are you really amazed by these books, page after silly page? Cause the Quran and the Bible are exactly the same. Moronic and vile memes attacking your brain. Yeah, you need to do some more reading on anything and explore reasons, cause we need more heathens.
Or even more seasoned agnostics, those still working on the reasoning process. I believe in my conscience. People are all tense, fighting over all this deity nonsense. We could all be friends if we squash this constant bickering and sickening nonsense. This is from my nuns out living in the convents, to my thugs with the guns still sitting in the projects, to the honest little children only building up a complex. From the Bible Belt to a village of Islamics, this shit is real, you can feel it in the cosmos. We're revealing all the prophets and we're killing them with logic. My honest opinion, God and religion is often a prison designed for your thoughts and decisions. I followed my wisdom, and it led me to skepticism. Took the spirit out of me, undoubtedly an exorcism. Yes, there isn't a God, but don't stress it. Your heaven's right here on the planet, so go get it. Stop giving this life no credit. Had to make an afterlife? Well, I don't get it. Roll credits and the audience exits. Life leaves too, and your body is breathless. You need to do some more reading, just to ensure we can even the score when you're speaking.
Yeah. Listen. I used to tussle on the bus when I was 10 years old. A motherfucker stole my lunch and uppercut got thrown. But now I'm older, little wiser now, I'm checking the news. These corporate suckers knuckle up and got us singing the blues. They use the same set of principles, abusive and cruel. But these are grown men, I don't believe in omens now. However, I can see the future, how it's going down. You need the root of all our evil, just defeat us, you clown. So now my fate is hanging on to what the paper displayed. Now people acting fake as paper mache. The killing rape, the villain takes a life for the sake of dollar bills. A scholar kills for freedom and none of the greed is nil. Don't need to chill and analyze the surface of the problem, cause what's underneath is worthy of a holler. A lot of buried skeletons, they're relevant in the present. From the tenements to the president, sending a message as a president, hoping they're getting the medicine.
There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner.
Yeah.
Who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now.
Don't save the planet, that planet's really fucked. Earth is fine, it's humanity that sucks. Give me a beat, I'll teach you something with it. At the reverse for me, you'll be in love with physics. Tell the truth if you love the children. If you hate, tell them it's cause you learned it and you're afraid of building. Able willing, yeah, I'll be at the table chilling, waiting for the doomsday missile to slay the building. Everyone destroyed, no exceptions. Maybe these annoying apes will finally learn their lesson. Their religion and politics, a simmering pile of shit, but they never could acknowledge it. Too bad, they could have been a great type 1. Instead they hoped and prayed that someone who'd save them might come. From our perspective, no place in the heavens. Your race a detriment to the space you inherit, so
there ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now.
Unify, utilize, scrutinize the regular. True to life, human size, supersonic, secular. A messenger with every intention of speaking clearly. But even if I do, you won't hear me. Fear these simple rules, follow who you're supposed to. Under penalty of we'll roast you. Not only will we, but we hope to. Unless we can get to know you. That's a little bit too close. You can give me space and take it to the hopeful. Social on the networks, putting in the legwork. Up until my head hurts, an expert on the excerpts. Putting out the best work and living how I can. Trying to find some happiness and living like a man, standing up on the straight and narrow path. The solution is in the fusion instead of hidden inside of the math. Crash course, it's what's for dinner. Cancer to deliver, answer to the winners, cause there's no helping this hopeless sinner.
There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now.
We grooving over here.
There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner
Out here on the West Coast.
who would hurt all mankind. Believe me now.
Well, the cool people are anyway.
There ain't no room.
I just kind of want to let that ride, man.
Yeah, man, that's a Hopeless Sinner from Riot Converse's album.
That shit is dope.
Illa.
2010 Carter's Scale. What's up?
I was just gonna say C-Gats was killing it on there, but tell everybody who else was on that track, because it was kind of a monster cipher happening there.
On you're talking about for Hopeless Sinner?
Yes.
The first track you played.
Oh, okay. So for 2010, it was myself, Sickness, and Task Rock, and then basically on Hopeless Sinner it was me, C-Gats, and Spanfly.
Dope.
And Trauma did the beat on 2010, and Mac.
Trauma is sick, man.
Hopeless Sinner. Yeah, Trauma.
Trauma is a sick beat-making monster.
Yeah. You know, I always recognize his stuff by the drums. His drums are pretty. If you are musically inclined in an obsessive manner, you can. He definitely has a signature drum.
Yeah.
To all of his beats.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. So you know, we have a lot going on with the campaign. We're midway through. We have made it a very far way. We have a little ways to go. We have some exciting stuff that I can't really talk about just yet because we're still sort of working out the details to make sure that we can offer you some really amazing, just like the best way that I can describe it is that these perks are going to be like e-ticket perks. And if you don't know what an e-ticket is, go Google that. Go Google what an e-ticket is because that perfectly describes how fantastical these announcements are going to be in the next couple of days. But I really, really do want to take a moment to recognize some of the people who have made this all possible and put them in the spotlight a little bit. So the first person I want to recognize is the Rational Jim. Thank you for your support. We look forward to hanging out with you and you know, what can I say? The fellas have been making music for you all day long today.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Best believe it.
And then, you know, Gray, you touched on something earlier about, you know, really being a global community. And my next shout out goes all the way across the pond to Rajon Munchausen in the UK. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for reaching out to us overseas, across land. Thank you for your contribution and your ongoing support. You're dope.
Absolutely.
And then a dude that I've had the opportunity to chat with a little bit. I know he's a really cool dude because I've seen him around the community, not just in GU, but elsewhere. And he's a real level-headed guy, real genuine guy. Tom Amon, secular surfer.
Yes.
Thank you for your support.
Thanks, Tom.
Also want to send a big shout out and a big thank you to Eric Tice and Jeff Bosserman. Thank you, fellas, for everything you do. We are so incredibly excited to hang out with you guys at the Smithsonian, at the show, at the after party. We are really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cannot wait.
That's what I should have played. I should have played GU After Party.
Ooh.
Well, you know, there will be another opportunity soon enough. I do have a special shout out that I'd like to make. You know, there's a good amount of members that are in GU that work all sorts of angles in their talents and their skill sets to find creative ways to bring you information, to share the excitement with you. And some of them you know very well because of what they do. They're MCs, they're beat makers, you know, they're loudmouths. And then some of them you don't really get a chance to meet that often because they really kind of work behind the scenes. And we couldn't do anything that we do without them, and I really want to recognize GU member Kate the Great.
Yes.
She is, first of all, she is hilarious. She is a dope chick. She is always cracking a joke. She is always lending her support. She's always willing to set aside any apprehensions or fears and take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and try new things if she thinks that it'll help make a difference or make somebody's day better. So I definitely want to recognize her along with Adequate. He's a dope dude. I mean, that guy is willing to try anything and is great at just about everything. You know, I mean, he puts his hands on it, and it's because, not just because of his talent, but because of his commitment and his drive. You know, he works really hard. If you guys could see how hard he works in preparation for an album or to deliver, you know, the lyrics in a manner that he thinks is going to be entertaining as well as impactful. I mean, the dude puts in work. So I really just kind of wanted to spotlight those two GU members because they're not in the spotlight very often, and you deserve to know them.
All right. Absolutely.
Doom.
Yes.
Speaking of dope spotlights, let's put one on the Mayo Clinic because that is it's so insane. It's so insane the progress that they're making, the results that they've gotten. There's multiple tiers of dope happening. Tell us.
So basically, there was an article came across. It talks about how a vaccine that targeted the cancer. It was a Mayo Clinic trial. And basically what they did, it was, what was the patient's name? I can't remember the patient's name, but she was a 49-year-old woman, and she experienced complete remission of, how do you pronounce that? Myeloma, and has been clear of the disease for over 6 months. And basically they just hit her with a super dose of the measles vaccination. And I think what it did was they gave it to her in such a way where it permeated every part of her bloodstream, everything that's in there, and it went in there and it forced the cancer cells to connect with one another and explode or something. But I'm telling you, this, when I saw this article, and it's a video, it's a company video. Matter of fact, I'll try to put a link to it in
Didn't it do something like supercharge her like immune system or something like that?
Yeah.
Was there like an extra added benefit where she was able to just basically have Wolverine style fucking?
Exactly. Like it was amazing.
It is. And what's really cool about this is that if any of you guys know how vaccines work, basically, to put it in layman's terms, they sort of weaken the virus and they put it in your system so that your immune system, while the virus is in a weak state, can come in there and take advantage of it and figure out exactly where to target it and hit it and destroy it in your body. So this is where this is where the misinformation is sort of born from, in my opinion, about the illnesses caused by vaccines, because there is a small percentage of a chance that your immune system can't figure out what to do, even with a drunken virus. But most of the time, and I don't want to quote the statistic because this really is a serious matter. So I'm not going to say 99% of the time, but just go look it up, and I'm pretty sure I'm not that far off. The vaccination does what it's supposed to do. So in this case, for the cancer treatment, they re-engineered the virus. They re-engineered the virus to basically turn it into a soldier for your immune system. So this virus now isn't going to come in here and attack your immune system, and resulting in measles. The virus has been re-engineered to go and target the cancer cells in your body. So that's absolutely incredible. That we have the technology and the ability to do that is amazing.
Yeah, and again, this is just like, they've been doing this for a while. This isn't the first time they attempted to do that, but with the success of this, just think of the other applications and all the other cancers and stuff like that. Because
I was gonna say other cancers are shitting themselves right now.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of those type of achievements and accomplishments that, for all of you that may have a family member or something that suffered from that or whatever like that, it's payback time. Payback time.
It is. We're no longer on the brink of it. We're there. We are there with it. And so, the one patient, there were two patients in particular in this study that they presented, and one patient was a 49-year-old woman, and she was remarkable in the sense that she experienced, this lady had battled cancer, went into remission, it came back again several times over. Like, it didn't seem like she was going to beat cancer.
Right.
So this 49-year-old woman experienced complete remission of the melanoma and has been clear of the disease for over 6 months. So 6 months may not seem like a lot of time and on a bigger timeline, but it is impressive when you consider that this lady has not been able to beat it. When they thought they did, it came back, and she's seeing very good results in the sense that it completely wiped out the cancer. So they'll be watching her and they'll be checking her. The second patient, though, whose cancer didn't really respond as well to the virus treatment, was still what is considered to be equally remarkable, because her imaging studies provided a clear proof that the intravenously administered virus specifically targeted the sites of the tumor growth. They haven't been able to really pinpoint that until now.
Right.
And there's, the press release on this, they worded it in such a way that it really kind of touched my hip-hop heart when I read the line that goes to the effect of, this was done using high-tech imaging studies which were possible only because the virus had been engineered with a snitch gene.
Yeah.
I love that they called it a snitch gene. I just wanted to put in like my Dr. Dre or my Biggie record and be like, take that, take that.
Wow.
This was snitch. That was genius.
I'm telling.
So, anyway, a stitch gene basically is what it sounds like. It's an easily identifiable marker so that the researchers can really accurately locate it in the body. So it's really innovative stuff. But what's interesting, as Toon pointed out earlier, is that this has really kind of been in effect since the 50s.
Yeah.
Since the 50s they've been at this. So that's really cool. But it's, as Toom and I were talking about this earlier today, it really sort of brings to light, like, you know, there's an anti-vaccine movement.
Yeah.
So not only is there this news about cancer treatment, which essentially is kind of a vaccination in terms of, you know, it's sort of based on the premise of a vaccine,
Right.
although it's really kind of leveling it up, you know, in terms of, instead of weakening the virus, it's now like sort of outfitting the virus as a soldier.
Right.
So that's interesting and unique of itself. But there was also news just within the last couple of days about a new study really sort of essentially having a huge scientific nope to anti-vaxxers. Like, nope, these vaccines are not related to autism. And they've done a research with well over 1.3 million kids that were studied. It was a meta-analysis involving exactly, maybe it was just under 1.3 million children. But essentially they decided and discovered with factual data, that there's no relationship between vaccination and autism, no relationship between vaccination and autism spectrum disorder, and no relationship between autism, ASD, and the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine.
But when have you known facts to ever really mean anything?
Yeah, I was about to say it's time for us to have another come to reason moment, right? Because sometimes you got to talk to them like that. A come to reason moment. We have scientific data that says that your fears and the fear mongering done by people that are spreading this around and getting money from books being made and trafficking on their website, we have data that shows that they're wrong. Okay, so now the only refuge would be if you were to go into a conspiratorial argument, but I would caution you against doing that, because the amount of people that would have to be involved in a conspiracy this size, it just would not be feasible to do. And I know from living in a house full of kids, growing up in a house full of kids, no one can keep a secret. It's going to get out. All right? So let's have a come to reason moment. Let's look at the data, and let's not, fall into our line of bias, and everything will be okay, and we can keep the herd immunity thing going. You won't become a disease bomb, or your kid won't become a disease bomb in the classroom. Let's not do that anymore. Let's kind of kill that and stop having these old diseases that we had conquered from coming back because you won't accept the data that's right there in front of you. That's all. A come to reason moment.
I don't understand. If we start curing all these people with all these diseases, we're going to have overpopulation. This is a part of God's plan. Diseases is just God's plan. Regulation, control. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It doesn't even sound good. It doesn't even sound good coming out of the mouth. Like, have you ever met well, no, let me not even go there. We'll talk about that offline. That's a little too specific. Let me sing with somebody.
I'll say it. I'll run my mouth like the loud mouth that I am. I just saw, and mind you, I love this lady's music. Like, I remember going to one of her concerts as a birthday treat for myself, and I was stoked. And she seemed nice enough. We chatted. She seemed nice enough. But I just read her retarded statement the other day about her son has autism because that was God's way of punishing her for having an abortion at some time in her life.
Ooh, man.
Ooh,
I mean, yikes. I don't
Yeah, and it's just first of all, it's like how dare you as a mother say that publicly where it's going to be recorded and your now child soon to be reading adult is going to go back and go, "Oh, I was
yeah,
punishment."
yeah, yeah. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? How you're asserting that in order to punish you, the all-loving one hit your kid who had nothing to do with that. And that come like time for another come to reason moment. Stop, man. Like, sir, it's 2014. Are we still scared of curses from sky gods? Come on, man.
actually, yes.
People are still afraid to step on that crack.
Man,
I was gonna say something. I know people who are afraid to split poles still.
yeah, me too. Me
Split
too.
the pole.
Don't sweep my feet, dog. I gotta spit on that broom. Get the fuck out of here.
Look, come on, seriously. Like, it's 2014, and we have made such, strides forward to keep going back to a time when we didn't have the tools of observation, so anything was up for grabs as an explanation. The time is over. It's old. I step on cracks every day when I don't even have to. I go out of my way to step on cracks.
No, but you don't understand how it works. When something happens to your ass, they'll be like, "Yeah, it's because you stepped on that crack."
Oh yeah, well,
That's,
waiting.
you know what I thought was interesting and a sort of not really kind of related story. Texas is in the middle of this huge drought, as many of us will be soon enough. California is droughting like a motherfucker right now.
Wow.
But so they're in this drought, and it's the onset of it, the beginning of the worst is where they're at with the drought. And so people are like, what do we do? And they're literally taking to the churches and praying and singing and dancing for rain. And when I read this news story, I'm like, I think, didn't those other people who were here first, didn't they do that?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read something on, this is one of those take it with a grain of Facebook salt, but like, I read that, I think in Minnesota they changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Is that
I
true?
heard about that. I don't know. Wow.
That's true?
That is true.
That's
I
awesome.
Minnesota. Stupid. That's great, man. That's props to Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see
Hey,
if I can
Facebook's
find-
not full of shit after all.
Well,
Well,
How
not
about they-
as full. Yeah.
Let's not get carried away, Ray.
I know. Let's be real here. Let's keep it grounded.
Come on, I'm typing. You guys are supposed to be talking.
No, I can always do it. No, the reason why that's even important, why that type of discovery is even important, is because it's one step closer to type 1. And my initial thoughts on this was, if we can do all of this without artificial general intelligence, we're knocking some major shit off without AGI right now.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when we actually have AGI and we have exponential intellectual growth in our machines? I mean, there are things that we probably can't even conceptualize at this point that are probably going to be invented in that particular period of time.
Right.
Because of these artilects. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I personally, this is just I can't speak for anybody else on the panel, but I personally think that in the near future, we will have some form of artificial general intelligence. And like Stephen Hawking, it is one of the bigger threats to mankind. It's today's modern nuclear race.
Yes.
And I believe the first country to have real AGI wins. And I mean, they probably lose anyway, because there's no way you can really contain a true AGI. It doesn't answer to you.
Right.
Or anything like that. So
it's basically sentient. So.
Right. And not really bounded and subjected to the limitations of biology. Having said all that, I would like to think that if we have something like that, or even something less than that, some form of augmented intelligence that allows regular people like you and me to, outsource or augment certain aspects of their intelligence to make them greater than what they are already. I mean, if there's less time it takes for me to search Wikipedia and find what I'm looking for or whatever I'm looking through, so that I can make faster and more efficient rhymes, then so be it.
Right.
And I'm assuming there's a lot of people out there who would do that. So to me, this is just one more step to type 1.
Well, you know what kind of and by the way, I found the information, and it's back in April, really. The Minneapolis City Council set the record straight, and they renamed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. But the cool thing about this is that in the 90s, Berkeley, California did it.
Yeah.
And there are 4 states that do not recognize Columbus Day, including South Carolina. Look at me. I was about to give them credit they don't ever deserve.
Oh, wow.
South Dakota.
Wow.
South Dakota. South Carolina gets no credit for being Civil War instigators and pushers. That's
no
why
credit for you. No credit for you.
You are still on punishment, South Carolina.
Bad South Carolina. Bad.
If I had a rolled up newspaper right now, let me tell you. Or what did Explain tell me the other day when the cat wouldn't stop scratching my butt? What did he tell me to do? Put some vinegar in the spray bottle. I was spraying. Anyway, I think it's yeah, you know it. You know it. Every household that has a cat has a spray bottle.
You got to.
But I think it's dope that they did that, and I totally agree with you, Greg. I would just say that one of my far-fetched, not so far-fetched, too much sci-fi watching fear is that eventually any sort of advanced AI, especially if it becomes self-aware, but even if it's just data mining and formula calculating, that AI is going to figure out that humankind is not only its own worst enemy, but the greatest threat on the planet. And so I wonder if it will break Asimov's rule of not being able to harm man. I think that's going to be kind of its catch-20. We actually might break the AI. It might get stuck in its own gridlock, going back and forth between protect man, don't hurt man, protect man, don't hurt man.
It's funny because I can just picture this huge equation that it runs, and it runs this equation for like less than a month, and the answer to it comes out in very simple terms: humans suck.
I thought you were going to say 42.
No, humans suck, and if you really want to make the world a better place, get rid of the humans. Get rid of the humans. I'm just saying.
While we're on the topic of artificial intelligence, I think the reason why it's even important to begin with is because, to me, it's one of the last things that we can possibly invent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people want us to invent, like, transporters and faster than light travel. Some of that stuff's not really feasible. But what we don't really have an understanding of, and we know we're kind of heading towards, is a super intelligence like disparity, where there are people on the planet who are, maybe several orders more intelligence than kind of the general citizen through some sort of technological access that maybe the general citizen doesn't have access to. So, yeah, you're talking about now kind of a class divide among access to intellectual superiority.
That's going to be a problem. That's going to be yeah.
We can never let that happen. That's scary.
Because, it's kind of like, even before that, it was kind of happening a bit with access to higher education. This would just be something else,
That's true. Or even just public education, depending on where you live.
Right.
And when I mean depending on where you live, I mean depending on the socioeconomic factor of where you live.
Right.
It's the quality of education that you're going to receive.
Yeah.
Period. So,
as a matter of fact, tomorrow is the Facebook tradition of Throwback Thursday. I'm going to take everybody, all of my fans and friends and stuff, on a little journey of where I grew up, in pictures and commentary. And these schools in this area, trust me when I tell you, the ones of us that managed to get something out of it is because we put in a little extra effort and was determined to do it. But there are so many distractions in these type of areas, even before you leave the house, by not having breakfast, by your parent being on drugs, just not having the same stuff that people from a higher social economic status have, that affects the child and their learning before they even get to school. Just walking through the neighborhood, it's crazy. So
it is. Hey, I want to give a shout out. We got another GU brother in the house, and those of you that were in Seattle, you will remember our dude Ryan Adam. What up, Ryan?
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, man?
Performer.
I'm pretty sure he's feeling real good about his Spurs right now. Man.
You probably detected a little bit of salt in our giggle because we know that Gray is still mourning his Clippers.
Literally mourning, as in we will never see that team probably as constituted ever again because Donald Sterling's going to draw that lawsuit out. I mean, okay, can we talk about something for a second as far as in the greater context of, we talked about this a couple shows ago, I think, and where it was, the legality of someone being taped in their private, home and losing property because of it. I'm curious as to this argument, which supersedes which, the United States Constitution or the United States Constitution or a business contract?
Oh, the Constitution, though.
Well, that's the obvious answer, right?
Yes.
However, it is shown more, I think, in our recent history through our corporatocracy and plutocracy that the big business contract kind of trumps that Constitution, right?
So you asked what's more important, right? So the
No, what I was asking, supersede may have been the wrong wording. Which should win in a court of law and which actually does. So I'm asking really two questions here.
Yeah, well, I agree, but I think, me being a huge fan of accountability, I take a lot of the blame back on myself as a citizen, and by myself I mean us,
I know, right?
for not keeping this stuff in check. And no, I cannot control what the Walmart family does, but I can certainly vote somebody in or out of the office who is not making sure that, that they're playing, that a huge corporation is playing fair, because whatever reasons. I'm not going to make a real accusation about pockets and linings or anything. I'm not going to say anything about super PACs or anything like that.
Right.
But I am saying that we have a responsibility as a citizen. It's like it's our job. If we want to employ the Constitution, it's our job to vote and make sure that the people we are saying, yeah, take care of me, watch over me, make sure my shit is tight, that they're actually doing that. So it seems overwhelming, and it seems a lofty goal. It seems like something we can't change today, and it's true. We can't change it today or tomorrow. It's going to take more than 4 years or 2 terms, but it's not going to happen until we start taking action. So I think it totally sucks when you see a big corporation, just steamroll over constitutional rights and amendments and purposes. But in a court of law, of course, it's always going to come down to the letter of that Constitution. So let's take all feelings aside, because, for example, with the Clippers, if we don't like that guy, we could just say, fuck you, and not buy his shit. And he doesn't make any money off it.
That's true.
So that's the flip side of being a consumer in a corporatocracy. You have the ability to not give them your dollar.
Right. And again, like you said earlier, a lot of that is our fault. I can give you too many examples of the people in the country being schizophrenic, where you can't get a huge segment of the population to agree on what the actual problem is, where one half thinks that what the other half wants is the problem. So while all of this is going on and people can't seem to get on the same page, the people with the money and the access, the ones of them that can actually get up there and pay for one of those $50,000 a plate dinners at one of those campaign whatevers, they're getting in there. They're in the ear of a lot of those guys, and I'm just going to straight up say, they greasing pockets. Either they're greasing it with straight up cash, or they're greasing it with access or some other perk. And the only perks you should really be interested in is the ones on our campaign. Like, that stuff that they doing, it's not something, I'm just saying.
I just saw what you did there.
Like,
did you try to steal my pun thunder? Did you just try to do that?
I just borrowed it.
Is there a pun war going on again here?
I just borrowed it for a second. Just had to borrow it. But yeah, man, I mean,
very nice flip. Very nice flip.
I'm just saying.
It's not as good as my exam poll. I think I have the title as the pun-isher right now.
Well, hold up now.
I don't think you do. Check my lower third, buddy.
What is it?
Can you see it?
Oh, that's right. You do have the pun. I had that for a second.
Agma, we're talking all over you, man. You letting us run our mouths over here. Come on, man. I see your threads. I know you have a lot to say. Oh, is he muted? He's muted. Let me unmute you. Sorry. I shouldn't be touching people's mute buttons, should I?
No, actually, he should be able to unmute himself after if you need to mute him or whatever. If somebody needs to mute somebody, the other person, they can unmute themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still has control over that.
Well, you just burst my bubble.
All right.
You thought you had all power.
Over here, I got my pun thunder taken. Now I can't mute him also.
What's up with your crazy cat over there going Wolverine on everybody?
You know what? I fed her some fish, and she is satisfied.
That's what she really wanted.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she wasn't trying to get
Wait, you let her punk you into some fish?
Yes.
Oh, man, cats get their way, though. I mean, you know, that used to be a leopard at one point.
Dude.
Not in this house.
So spoiled. Once a week, on Sundays, I make a stew from scratch for my dog. Chicken, sweet potatoes, peas, carrots.
Wow.
I make her a whole batch for the week. I give the kitties, I used to just give them like little sardines, you know, like you can have a sardine. And then I was like, let me level up your dope dinner. Let me do that for you. And I gave them salmon. And now they're like, we fucking want salmon every day. And that's why she was scratching my butt yesterday. I had not given her salmon.
See, that's the problem right there. Once you open the barn door, you can't bring them back in. That's why these cats around here will eat kibble.
You know what? You know what? They appreciate it. I've had at least 3 gifts of mice brought right to the foot of my bed. Okay? 3 of them.
Okay. I give them that. Because they're putting their work.
They bring me cicadas. They appreciate it. They know what's up.
Look, the day I know these cats appreciate anything around here is the day that they go and attack something for me the way that cat did in that video. That's what I know.
Oh, we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yes,
boy.
Oh, man, that was still pretty good. I think the cat's making the old 15 Minutes of Fame tour, too. He threw out some baseball game.
Grumpy Cat is like, what the fuck, dude?
Right. See, you know what it is? Grumpy Cat just looks like he'll kick your ass. This cat actually will.
Yeah, if they had a UFC, that cat would probably be the champion right now.
Yeah, easily.
You know, while we're talking about cats, not to alienate too many people for too long, but I cannot get enough of those little Vine videos where they catch the cat fight and the cat hops up on its hind legs like, wow, what now, motherfucker? Like all on its hind legs, and it won't drop down. It just stays on its hind legs. Like what? That's right. I'm doing this. What are you gonna do? I cannot get enough of those videos.
Oh, those damn cats.
Oh, no. All right, no more kitty talk because pretty soon people are gonna send us like those those goddamn throw pillows with.
What are you talking about? We probably doubled our viewership. Half of Reddit came over. With
Yeah, wow. Just look at the views on YouTube for cat videos.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, then in that
Cats
case, I'm
really
gonna go ahead and tell you that my cat is also a guard kitty. I haven't seen her actually attack a human yet, but I mean, I have seen that, but not in the But she will, if somebody comes to the door in the same way that the dog is like, who the fuck is that? I've heard the cat do it. I'm like, really?
Wow.
Really growling at the door? But I tend to think it's really more so that she's kind of a psycho kitty than a guard kitty.
A psycho kitty.
Oh, God.
I don't know what's going on with Ogma's mic.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
He's having tech issues over there. Come on, man. You're supposed to be a Celtic god. Come on.
There it is.
There we go. See, as soon as I reminded him of his divinity, his mic stopped working. See?
Well, he had to engage his beardliness. That's what happened. He had to unleash his beard on that mic. Like, you will.
Yeah,
we got you.
Oh, no way. It just randomly came on after you said that?
I told you, dude. I told you.
You just invoked the power of Odin somehow, bringing out the pagan gods.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
Hey, did we talk about that, the ice shelf breaking off and everything?
No.
Oh, shit.
We did not.
Might as well get it in. Might as well.
All right, well, I don't want to talk about it without having
Greenland,
it in front of me. So let me grab that real quick, and I will give me 5 minutes. I'll get back to you. Because that is kind of a story we should cover. About.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys can talk. Or I can play music.
I can't believe you woke Bob Mike up to him, so that shit is hilarious.
It was the Odin
correlation
force.
does not equal causation, though. So
you don't know that.
Coincidence.
You don't know that. I'm using my best argument from ignorance of it. You don't know that.
You don't know that.
I was gonna say that. I was trying to say that earlier when I was muted. Their only argument against concrete scientific evidence is no, it's not. Like we have the scientific evidence right in front of you.
It's just like when Bill Nye, since we're talking about climate change, was talking about climate change on, I think it was like Fox or CNN or something like that.
No, it was on CNN. It was on CNN.
Yeah, and they're like, he's like, okay, so this study says, and they're like, no, it doesn't. It's like, okay, so we have a disagreement on basically what you believe are the facts. Like, this is not a situation where you don't believe the data, what the data is saying, or you don't believe in it. Like, you're unwilling to actually review what the facts are.
Yep.
We have a complete misunderstanding or disagreement as to what's reliable information and what isn't. Saying that these guys who did X amount of year study and came up with this report on that, you're saying that that's not reliable for some reason, then we need to talk about what is reliable. Is you just pulling that out of your ass reliable? No. Is this study more reliable than you pulling out of your ass? Yeah. It is. So
they steamrolled him the whole time.
It's
Wouldn't get a word in.
We're entering into dangerous territory now. The very things and methods that we use to get as far as we've gotten now are being attacked by the anti-intellectual mob. The people that are trying to make the lab coders into monsters and trying to diminish the things that they've done. This is dangerous territory because if you water down the method and then you go in to say that these studies and stuff don't work, or it doesn't mean anything, or your ignorance is just as good as their data, and that becomes like a mantra that people, that's dangerous shit. That's dangerous shit.
Yeah, like just some scientist said it. Like that doesn't mean anything. That a correlation of peer-reviewed, like reputable scientists came up with, groundbreaking, undeniable facts.
I think it's like scientific evidence is the best argument from authority because it's scrutinized authority.
Exactly.
Like it's peer-reviewed authority, supposedly. Obviously done. There is corruption in certain places and all type of shit. We all understand that. But the scientific method in its purest form should basically produce that.
And weed all of that crap out.
Right, and weed all that other stuff out.
It's dangerous, man. Yeah, it's dangerous.
I think part of the problem is that number one, even if a scientist says something, you should still fact check it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
And see what basis they are using to present their claim with. But
Right.
I think also a part of the problem is that there is a misconception or perception when we say science says, then it is somewhat perceived as like an individual saying something.
Yeah.
And it's almost taken with the same weight as like, well, my preacher says. You know what I mean? When we say science says, and what really anybody should mean with that statement is that it has been tried, tested, reviewed, tested again, the results, data collected, and a conclusion has been drawn based on that.
Right.
And so it's not an individual making a statement. It's a tested process that we know that has results that say we know this to be true.
Right.
But I don't think people quite understand that.
And what I'll say is this too: if you don't understand it, or if you find your way in some way, shape, or form skeptical at all, which you should, I mean, you can always go on some site like Arvix, you know, or something like that, where all of those scientific journals entries are kept, and read the entries yourself. Like read the studies, even if you don't understand it. Just try to read the shit, and you'll understand a lot of effort and work went into gathering this data.
Right.
And they probably wouldn't go through all of that work and effort if they were falsifying it. That's not to say that it doesn't happen. So check your sources, but it is something to consider if you really have a problem with the data or whatever. I tell people all the time, you can go falsify it yourself.
Yeah.
It's out there. If I'm saying that it's in the language of science that this is correct or true or in some capacity, then in some way, shape, or form that there's some evidence out there that's been collected to make that argument, and they should go look at that.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not, and I mean, I'm sure you guys couldn't tell this at all, but I'll share it with you anyway. But I'm not a formally trained scientist, you know. Honestly, you know, if I'm gonna keep it really, really real with you, you know, I mean, I didn't even, you know, get beyond a general college science education. Like, it's the basic stuff.
Right.
So my understanding requires a little bit more attention and research so that I understand the terminology that they're using or what they're referencing. But I share that to say that, really, to Gray's point, you can really look at their journals, at their work. You know, the thing about any scientific endeavor is that, much like in the 10th grade when you were doing math homework and you were required to show your work, these scientists are also required to do it. It's a part of the review and testing process. So you can actually look at it. They post it online. If you're interested in doing so, I have actually just posted, we talked about earlier the study that was done about autism and vaccines. I just posted the link to the abstract in the comments section. So you can start there. And the truth is that it's really interesting stuff. And it's not that difficult to decipher. I mean, you might have to thumb through it a little, you know, in a few more places. You might have to Google a word here or there, but for fuck's sake, you're learning while you're doing it. And
not to mention, you know, there's seasoned scientists out there who are actively looking for people who are attempting to falsify data.
Absolutely,
that's true.
Who care about people's well-being and are gonna test that and be like, no, you're not getting this past me. Like, I'm looking for shit like this.
Right. That's true.
That's a great point. That's really how, you know, if there's any quote unquote faith, is that we are all seeking truth, and so to try to falsify someone else's data is the best way to come across that truth, and having a consistency of all of it's out on the table to be scrutinized.
Right.
But I would say that most typically, I mean, we all understand that, at the end of the day, we're all men and women, and we're very emotional, fragile, sensitive creatures with high-level egos that drive much of our motivation. I mean, and this is true for all of us. Sometimes we're a little bit more humble with it than others, but we all have the ego. So let's not say that there isn't somebody out there who's going to lose sight of the real goal for self-gratifying goal. That's not to say that that doesn't occur, but the point is that there is an agreed-upon method that has, in the same way that our nation has 3 branches, and those 3 branches exist to keep each other in check and in balance, so too does the scientific method have checks and balances, and that's part of what the peer review is. So Agma is saying that there are people out there, or scientists out there, who are specifically looking, for those sort of falsifications. That's part of the checks and balances. It is built into the scientific method, and that's why we tend to trust it a little bit more than because I said so.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, to me, it's like I think there's a disconnect with how much the scientific method has changed everything about your life in comparison to what it was a long-ass time ago. I mean, and I'm talking about simple stuff. Like, we like to talk about science. We like to talk about space travel. And we were talking about earlier AI. But with just really simple things, the track record is pretty clear. Simple things like up in the morning and you turned on your faucet, or you turned on your light. Simple stuff like that we take for granted every day was all a part of that method that got us that particular convenience. And we tend to forget, the moment you picked up your keys to your car, the technique that they use to make these keys, all of this is all science. So it's not that I hear a lot of people say, well, they try to bring up all these different situations where, in this case, somebody attempted to defraud the scientific community. But look at all the vast other cases of the science working in your favor.
Ignored, yeah,
completely ignored, man.
Good
We
point.
wouldn't be talking right now without quantum mechanics. Like, we wouldn't be able to see each other, talk, use a computer without quantum mechanics.
The cool thing is, though, that apparently I'm getting a little choked up about this. So that at the end of the day, scientists are just people. They're just people, and not all of them are like necessarily Einstein geniuses that we're just sort of. I don't even want to get into that because it's going to start a whole new conversation about why geniuses are geniuses. But they're really just people. And they found an interest, and they learned about it, and they studied it, and because of that, they developed skills and insight and knowledge and know-how and the ability to practice the scientific method. And so, I guess at the end of each opportunity I have to talk with somebody, I always want to encourage them, no matter where you're at in life, whether you're in high school, or you are in mid-career, or you're in college trying to decide what your career is, you always have that opportunity to learn something new. And if something interests you, don't let money, don't let location, don't let connections, although I'm sorry if you have dial-up, back. Don't let it hold you back, because there are so many resources available at your fingertips, and you can take advantage of them, and you can learn, the same way that we all tuned in to Bob Rocket and figured out how to draw birds over the seashore. We can also now take advantage of World Science University, Harvard, MIT, all of these schools that are offering free online courses. If you're interested in knowing something, you can learn it.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. That's what I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. It's been a dope conversation.
Yes, it is.
And I apologize for getting in late. Sorry.
No, we're glad
Hey,
you're
man,
here.
we're good.
And Agma, thank you for jumping in with us. We loved it.
And bringing your gnarly little supernatural god powers. Thanks.
Your beard
Oh, no problem, man.
to our presence.
Anytime.
You. So I just want to remind everybody, July 26th cometh upon us.
Yes, it does.
It's going to be dope. The Celestial Wars, Temple Hills, Maryland. Saturday, July 26th. Check us out on Indiegogo. Grand Unified presents Graydon Square and Tombstone. Check our campaign out. We're halfway there. You can get us all the way there. Thank you to everybody who has supported us with likes, shares, comments, and contributions thus far. You are making it happen.
You
I
are.
got to I definitely have to for a show for because they would kill me if I didn't shout this out. But June 20th, I'm gonna be in Atlanta as well.
Dope.
Atlanta. Although it was snow Atlanta not too long ago.
No, yeah, like definitely.
They lost their minds.
Yes, they did.
Jude, where can they find that information, Gray? Will you put it on your page?
Absolutely. It'll be everywhere from my Facebook page to the Grand Unify website. I just haven't had a chance to update it yet, but this is since we're on the live podcast, so I was like, fuck it.
All right. I'm Rissa Polaris. These are my boys.
Yeah.
I'm Stone the Dead Man.
Graydon Square.
Ogma.
Peace.
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 Peace. Don't eat the butt.